Hey, I'm going to talk about part of Buddhism these days, or in this video. It's going to be about the divine abodes, or the Brahma Viharas, is the Pali word for it. And it essentially, you've heard of loving kindness. It's the practice of radiating loving kindness, in addition to the other, the other three Brahma Viharas, which, because I'll say divine abodes. It's probably easier. And the other three are compassion, uh, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. And people talk the most about loving kindness because it's kind of, you can think of it as like the central divine abode. And it's like the most, it's kind of like the one you learn first, and then the other ones kind of come as like a result of knowing how to do the first one. But in a lot of ways, they're all kind of the same thing that you're expressing. Like they're all based on an unconditional love, and it's essentially where you're directing the love that that determines which of the divine abodes that you say which one that you're like aligning with, because the word divine abode, when it's translated in that form, it makes it sound like it's kind of like a heavenly place that you go after you die. But the at least my understanding of the original term of Brahma Vihara, it's more along the lines of like Brahmas are like a type of heavenly being, and Vihara is just like a place where you, kind of like a sanctuary, or like abode. I think abode is the best word for it, but I think the implication is more that it's like a place that you can go during this life when you're in like a meditative state. And I think that is the way that it's. I think the best way to explain it is as kind of like a sanctuary that you can go to. Because at least in my experience, once you've learned how to do all four of them, they kind of just happen on their own when you're in like a mental state where you need one of them to happen, where you and yeah, I'll explain each one in a little more detail so you can kind of get what I'm talking about. So I think the first one to explain is probably compassion, which is also translated as like care, or like I kind of think of it as like when someone's hurt and you want to help them and like heal them. It's like that type of feeling where you kind of apply it in a situation where you see someone else suffering. You know, kind of like in like the Buddhist sense, like you see like the suffering of others, of other beings, and you just feel compassion towards them, and kind of like a kind of like an all-encompassing feeling of just like I see other people in pain, and I feel that pain too, but instead of being hurt by it, it just generates a feeling of care and warmth that is, it feels pleasant for you, but it also feels pleasant because, or like it feels pleasant because of the other people that you want to help and that you are kind of like sending your love towards. And the flip side of that is sympathetic joy, where it's essentially towards people who are happy. And one of the classic the classic description is that you feel sympathetic joy towards the heavens, and it's just seeing like someone else who feels happy, even if, and the most useful case of it is when the other person's happiness kind of comes at your own cost, or your own can't think of the expression, but it's like if someone is being mean to you, kind of, and they're like kind of laughing at you, and you kind of just feel joy for them, because you know that like it doesn't really hurt you, and you just see like, oh, this person's having fun, you know, being their ignorant, you know, worldly self, and you kind of just like laugh along with them, and you just feel joy in your heart. And because it makes it less, if that feels less like it feels like one of like kind of like the lighter Brahma Viharas, because it's kind of just happening in times of a good feeling, and it isn't always about your, like it's not always in opposition to you. It could just be you're hanging out with people and they're laughing at some silly joke, and even if you don't think the joke is funny, you kind of laugh along with them and feel good. And And yeah, so the next one is I'll talk about is, loving kindness, which is kind of like saying like the classic divine abode, where it's essentially just um, if the compassion and sympathetic joy are for like specific situations, loving kindness is more just like a constant, like it works in any situation, and it might not be the best one to use in a certain situation, but it kind of always works. Like if you only know that one, you'll be able to do the divine abode practice perfectly well. And I think almost like the best way to describe it is to say the mantra that people use, or kind of like the words they use to bring the feeling into their heart. And it goes, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be secure. And it comes from one of the suttas, which is like one of the discourses that the Buddha gave, where there's a lot more to it that goes into a lot of detail about essentially like applying this feeling of like well-wishing to every being in the universe and on any plane of existence, any type of being, good or evil. And yeah, I think there's almost not too much more to say about it, because it is sort of just like the baseline, just unconditional love to everybody and everything. And it's the power of the Brahmaviharas. Actually, I'll wait to explain this part. Because yeah, the last one is equanimity, and equanimity seems on the face a little different than the other ones, because it's essentially just a feeling of like neutrality and just not feeling like one way or the other about anything. And the way it manifests in this type of practice is I hesitate to say when you would use it, because I don't really understand it super well. But kind of the idea is that it's like the furthest. It's like if you think about it as like levels that you can go between. It's like equanimity is the one at the top that is like the most distanced. Can't say that word. It's like the furthest away from normal like human existence, I guess. Where it's like you feel love for everything, but it's such a distant form of love that it doesn't make you feel really happy or really like it doesn't feel the joyful, but it feels just very neutral and very detached, while also being very loving. And you just like, yeah, it's like you recognize everything is the same and everything is working together, and because of that you just feel like everything's okay, kind of. And for that reason, you could maybe say that it's useful in times of distress, when you don't really know what's going on, and it's hard for you to feel that feeling of love, but you can still take a step back and kind of rise above things and just feel like, I don't really understand this, but I know it's okay, and so I'll just just radiate, feel equanimity. And yeah, what I was going to say before is the reason these things are so strong, like these divine abodes, is because they come from your heart, and the heart is it's like a source of infinite energy, you could say. Whereas like once you tap into the energy of the heart, and you really feel like it has to feel perfectly genuine, this like loving kindness or this sympathetic joy, like all of these, they have to feel perfectly genuine. And when they really come like directly from the heart, they just like kind of reinforce themselves, where you feel compassion towards something, and you feel compassion coming back to you, and you see that it's not just you generating compassion. It's like it feels like the whole universe is compassionate, and you're just becoming like a carrier of some of that compassion, and it forms this kind of this positive feedback loop where you, like, depending on almost like how much of it you're willing to hold, you can just be filled with like unlimited amounts of whichever form of whichever form of love, essentially, that you choose to point your heart towards. And yeah, you could even say that this gets back to the idea of it being a divine abode, where it almost feels like you transform the world around you into love. And like when you're feeling loving kindness, it feels like the whole world becomes loving kindness. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a very, very pleasant, very like, just like the world is good type of feeling. And yeah, that's just one of the things, like, that's one of the best things about meditation that you can get. Like, there's so many different things, there's so many insights and, like, ways to make your mind stronger and things. But on one level, the boundless, unconditional love is one of the, kind of like the highest forms of meditation. And it's not really usually presented that way. And I tend to not even, like, talk about the divine abodes very much. But for, like, the everyday person, like, being able to tap into these things is like a superpower, basically. Like, if you're, I don't know, a parent or like a caretaker, and you're mad at somebody, like you're mad at your child or something, if you just remember the loving kindness, you'll see that your child is radiating loving kindness back at you, even if it seems like they're trying to annoy you or they're doing something stupid, you know? And yeah, I think just understanding these things and being able to find them within your heart is, yeah, very good way to practice Buddhism, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'll make this a shorter video. And yeah, I'm at a different forest. You can see the power lines. This is it's very different. It's a longer walk to get here, and I'm in front of a lake instead of a creek. But yeah, I like it. I like it so far. I don't know if I'll switch to doing this place for a bit and see if it's a different vibe. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I'll say the oh yeah, I didn't give the Pali words for the Brahmaviharas. I'll just quickly say, so compassion is karuna, sympathetic joy is mudita, equanimity is upekkha, and loving kindness is metta, which metta is something you'll hear pretty often if you listen to Buddhist stuff. But yeah, give all my metta wishes to my viewers, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, or whatever, and peace.